Mechanism of conduction in metals. We have 3 key points here to note. First, to understand the mechanism of conduction in metals, we are guided by the fact that there is random motion of delocalized electron in metals, unlike non-metals, and a metal always has a delocalized electron that is a cause of transfer of conduction of heat and electricity. Again, we have to understand the role of potential difference in the conductor, and again we have to know what we call drift velocity, the uniformity, and the current electricity. So for any conductor, we have a conductor here. We are having a conductor. Which under normal conditions, this conductor, under normal conditions, it has electrons, and according to kinetic theory, it has random motion. Electrons are always moving in random motion, but since they are not uniform, always the motion looks to be cancelled. If one is here and one is here, if this goes there and this goes there, they replace it as if there is no net movement there. So the random motion has to be changed so that the motion may be uniform, so that current may be resulted. So therefore, when we connect a battery, this causes electrons to start drifting. So since the negative terminal has high concentration of electrons than the positive terminal, it's just like water. It will flow from where it is high to where it is low. So electrons start to move uniformly towards the positive terminal. So they flow that way. So when they flow that way, depending on the potential difference setup, that's when we constitute electrical current, in which the electrical current goes in the reverse direction. This is conventional current. The resulting conventional current goes in the reverse direction, from high voltage to low voltage. On the meantime, you can always never eliminate the chances of collision in the movement. So we shall see that these collisions are usually the result of why when a material passes electricity, it hits. We shall see later. So just remember that when explaining mechanism of conduction, you have to explain it under these three key points: that initially there is random motion of delocalized electrons, that is the result of current, but since they are random, they result to a net zero displacement. So as a result, the rate of change of number of electrons in a unit area per unit time, it becomes zero. But when you introduce the potential difference, a battery, it sets up a uniform electric field in which they start drifting and accelerating towards the positive terminal. So as a result, since there is a change in movement of electrons or charges per unit time and over a certain specific area, that's when current is constituted and goes in the opposite direction to the direction of the drifting current. So here we have new terms that we have had, something called drift velocity. So there must be uniformity, I insist again and again, constitute electric current. Why heating effects of a current in metals? Heating, as I said earlier, that when these electrons are moving, they're in uniform motion, yes, but they will always collide. These things are normal. Hata kwenye maisha yetu kwa tunaona barabarani magari yanagongana, watu wanagongwa barabarani na vitu kama hivyo. Similarly to electrons, on the course of movement, they collide with various ions on the way. In fact, kwenye metals kuna positive ions in the lattice, so as they move, some of them they combine with these positive ions in the lattice. As a result, when they combine, they lose that kinetic energy in form of heat. That's when the heating comes in. Ndio maana unakuta material fulani imepitisha umeme, after some time ile material imekuwa ya moto. It's because due to collisions of electrons, with the positive ions that it meets on the way, or any other ions that it meets on the way, or themselves, they can collide, and that kinetic energy is all converted into the heat. So this also explains why there is resistance in metals. This explains too that sometimes the electrons, they lose this energy. They lose this energy. That's why, as I said earlier, voltage is required to keep these electrons to keep on moving, because the collision bring resistance, this collision bring the resistance to electrons. So it's like damping, kwamba kama voltage ipo, ingekuwa kwamba hamna hizi collisions, voltage ingekuwepo tu, ukianzisha tu mwanzo unaweza ukatochomoa betri yako kaitoa. It's because hailuzi ile energy. Umempa energy electron, ataendelea kumove, umeme kwa utaendelea kuwepo hata betri isipokuwepo, kwa sababu hamna collision, the electron does not lose energy. Lakini due to collisions, the electrons lose energy, and that's why they bring in resistance, that hizi collision ndo zinaleta resistance of electrons kwenye metal. Ndio maana kwa kunapokuwa na cross sectional area ndogo, hizi resistance inakuwa ni rahisi, hizi electrons kunapokuwa na cross sectional area ndogo, hizi electrons ni rahisi kucollide. Kwa hiyo zikiwa zina collide zitatengeneza, ndio maana cross sectional area ikiwa ndogo resistance inakuwa kubwa, because the chances of collision are high. Umeona hicho kitu ndio maana unapo increase temperature ina increase movement, so chances za collision. Hata kwenye gari unapo increase speed ndio urahisi wa ajali unapotokea. Kwa unapo increase temperature una increase probability and number of collisions, so you are increasing the resistance. So voltage is always required to be there, because these electrons lose energy. So each time they lose energy, the battery has to give the electrons energy. Ndio maana tukichomoa battery tu after some time na umeme unazima, kwa sababu zinakuwa zina lose energy, eventually zinarudi kama kawaida zilivyokuwa. So we need voltage to be applied to maintain this flow of current. So we can explain why when you remove a battery, current stops to be there. Otherwise it could have been in such a way that you just put a battery, start the current, to remove the battery, and current goes on without stopping forever. So this kind of heating is what we call ohmic heating. Is the heating due to electrical resistance, that due to collisions they lose kinetic energy in form of heat. So heating due to resistance of current to flow in metals. So hereby we have Ohm's law. It's not a very new term. We know that V is equal to IR. That's the expression that always guided us. V is equal to IR. Again, how we can state this is that we usually state that the voltage across a conductor is directly proportional to the current through it. The voltage across a conductor is directly proportional to the current through it. This is because this is only true. You have to add, okay, generally we can say that voltage across a conductor is directly proportional to the current, provided all other physical conditions are remaining constant. So all the physical conditions affecting it, because here the constant here has to be the resistance. So when the resistance is changing, this relation also shifts, you see. So voltage across a conductor is directly proportional to the current through it under limitations of resistance. So this is only true at constant physical conditions. These physical conditions might be temperature, might be impurities, might be anything else that can affect resistance. So this is only true when this relation is therefore linear, and starts from the origin, as you can see. So the direct proportional at constant physical condition. That word is very important. Or you can just simply say kwamba at isolated conditions, under isolated conditions, voltage across a conductor is direct proportional to the current through it. So you say under isolated conditions, it means it is isolated, nothing can enter the system or can go out of the system. So it's constant physical conditions. Therefore, from Ohm's law we have two types of categories when it comes to conductors. We have ohmic conductors that obey Ohm's law and non-ohmic conductors which do not obey Ohm's law. So the characteristics, as I said, that these obey Ohm's law. As I said, this obey Ohm's law. When you speak of Ohm's law, this obey Ohm's law, this does not obey Ohm's law. Again, if you speak of the graphical relationships, the relation of V, the relation of V and I, for this is linear, but for this is not linear. So it can be a curve, this is linear and starts from the origin. So remember that it's linear and starts from the origin. So this can be a curve, it's not linear, but if it's linear, does not start from the origin, you might find it starts from there. See, so all these are characteristics of non-ohmic conductors, that it is not the relation between V and I is not linear, but if it is linear, the relation does not start from the origin. See, okay. Again, we have another characteristics, reverse current. For ohmic conductors, when you reverse current, the relation still remains the same, that it doesn't matter kama ni circuit yako. If this is your circuit, if these conductors were ohmic, then the relation will still be linear if a battery is connected this way, or otherwise if you reverse this battery, huku kukawa positive, huku ndo kukawa negative, kageuza ile battery, bado relation inabaki kuwa vile vile. While for non-ohmic conductors, it does not respond to reverse current. It either disallows passage of electric reverse current, or it reduces the amount, limits the amount that can pass. So we have few examples here. As you can see, the common example that we have, copper conductors are ohmic conductors. Copper, constantan, all those copper, constantan, nichrome wires are all those ohmic conductors, because they have this characteristic that they obey Ohm's law. The relation is linear and starts from the origin. Reverse current is allowed to pass. But for diodes, for example, it does not obey Ohm's law, and again the relation between V and I is not linear. You see, it's not linear, and the reverse current, diodes never allow reverse current to pass through, even if it allow at a very limited range of before the breakdown voltage. So breakdown voltage, we shall see that in electronics. So generally, as you can see, they oppose reverse current. But copper sulfate, with this is electrolysis. When we have copper sulfate as an electrolyte with copper electrodes, it obeys Ohm's law. So it is an ohmic conductor. Copper sulfate with copper electrodes. When you shift and change the electrodes here are important, because when you change the electrodes, even the status changes for electrolytes. The electrolytes can be ohmic or non-ohmic depending on the what type of electrodes you have used. If you change these electrodes, it might change to non-ohmic or ohmic. But so far for copper electrodes with copper sulfate solution, we have ohmic conductor. Just remember that characteristics of ohmic conductors, they obey Ohm's law. The relation between V and I is linear and starts from the origin. It allows reverse current.